What's going on? Pocket Moggers here. Hope you're having a great weekend. Uh, Today I've got a video for you. It's 9 Pokemon that need evolutions ASAP. Just like dinosaurs here, these Pokemon need to adapt a little bit more. It's easy to look at a lot of Pokemon and say, just give them recovery moves and then they'll be great, and I do have that for some of the Pokemon here, but that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to give them evolutions that help branch out what makes them unique in some way. You know what I mean? Improve on the theme that they have, because there are some concepts for Pokemon that are really unique and fun for creature collecting games that Game Freak hasn't emphasized, and I really don't understand. So we're gonna check out 9, one from each generation Pokemon that have evolutions, or I would like to have evolutions rather. Sorry about that, folks. That would help them branch out and feel more unique in the Pokemon world. So my number one Pokemon from Generation 1 is Parasect. As you can see in this fan art of Parasect here, he's got the spores of the parasitic fungus that turns ants into zombies. They're called cordyceps. That's the inspiration for Parasect. And I think we can go a little further with that, with an evolution for Parasect, and maybe turn the whole body into one of those white cordyceps stalks right there, Maybe lean in a little bit on The Last of Us, with all of its stuff. Give Parasect a little more of a ghoulish design, turn it into a ghost and bug type, give it some better bulk. And allow it to actually use the spore niche that it was supposed to use. The Pokemon Among Us has taken advantage of Spore. Breloom was good at it back in Gen 3 and Gen 4, but now Among Us has taken its place and is like the premier Spore setter. I'm so sorry, excuse me, guys. Um, but I think that Parasect here can take its place and really, or maybe not even necessarily take Amungus's place, but offer competition to it, offer the spore build viability in other metagames that it's not used in otherwise, right? Giving it a ghost and bug type opens up its defensive profile to different options than Amungus, and I think that would really help it out. Give Parasect some love. It's one of the few Generation 1 Pokemon that has kind of been left to rot and wither, kind of like a Cordyceps, interestingly. But I think that it can come back with a little bit of help. What about you? Do you all like Parasect? Do you want to see Parasect come back any? Do you think this is a good concept? Let me know in the comments. So for Generation 2, I picked Xatu. Unlike some of the other monsters that I'm going to mention here, Xatu's actually had good in-game success, good meta success, both in the singles and the VGC community. Xatu is not actually that bad of a Pokemon with its magic bounce ability that allows it to send entry hazards back, among other things. Access to Roost, access to Wish to help heal partners, good defensive moves like Thunder Wave and Nightshade, coverage moves like Heat Wave, Future Sight, which is an interesting psychic type attack. Xatu really isn't that terrible. Oh, Future Sight's also good for a defensive Pokemon, right? It's not terrible at all. It's not like stellar, but it's not terrible either. And that's not really what I'm going at. Personally, it's just me. It's not a meta problem, it's a design problem. I just don't vibe with Zatu's design at all. I get what they're going for, and I like what they're going for, and I think that you can do something with it, but I just don't think that Zatu is the end of that. Um, in the beta versions of Generation 2, Natu was a 3-stage line with an intermediary between Natu and Zatu that was like a Quetzal, sort of Roadrunner kind of critter. And I think taking that and maybe uh, I don't know what's the word for hyperbolizing the design, making it more elegant, making it more powerful in its design, and turning that into an evolution for Zatu instead would be really cool. Maybe leaning into Quetzalcoatl, or at least the Quetzal bird a little bit more would give Zatu a little more flair. Kind of show a little more of the visual side of the menace that is Zatu competitively. You know what I'm saying? The other thing is, Zatu would then get the Eviolite, which I think would just amazingly help Zatu out too. So, yeah, that's my thought for Zatu. So, Generation 3, I picked Cast Form. I was in the middle of making this video today, and Jimothy Cool uploaded a video about making Cast Form and doing Cast Form but better, and I feel silly now, and I'm just going to defer to his video. I'm sure if you're in the PokeTubing community, you've heard of what he does and his videos and stuff, so if you haven't, check it out, though. He's really great at that stuff. He really knows what he's talking about. I know some of what he's talking about, but not nearly in depth as he does. You should really watch him when it comes to competitive stuff. But yeah, check out his video. I will link it in the description so that you can see what kind of concepts were explored. There's like mega cast form evolution, reworking of the ability forecast. All of those are great concepts. I do think that at the very least it deserves a sandstorm form. I think maybe some terrain forms too, right? Like electric, psychic, fairy cast forms would be a good idea. Ooh, fog, turn it into a flying type, right? I think there's potential with the form that isn't really explored to the depth that it could be. So, yeah, my Generation 3 pick is cast form. So for Generation 4, I have picked Bronzong. Most of my argument here is what it was for Zatu, where the improvement, in my opinion, would be more visual than competitive or stat-wise or anything like that. Bronzong has been a pretty solid Pokemon throughout its tenure. To this day, it's still one of Xerneas's top murderers, right? So I'm not trying to step down on Bronzong there. It is totally effective at taking them out. But having said that, one of the big issues that Bronzong has is it really doesn't have a good enough HP stat, and it's lacking recovery. This is one of the ones that I think recovery is essential for completing the picture here, and that's why I recommend it in this case. Maybe it like uses its psychic powers to repair the metal in its body or something. I don't know. But yeah, give it that and give it an evolution with some better investment into HP. Maybe take some away from the special attack and put it into the special defense. I don't know how essential that special attack is anymore with hidden power gone. I don't know. Anyway, that's my thought for Bronzong. I'm not. I don't want to. I don't want to insult the masses here. I know that Bronzong is a pretty popular Pokemon, and I like Bronzong too. I just think that it could be a little bit better. What about you? Do you agree, or do you think Bronzong's perfect as it is? So my Generation 5 choice is Druddigon. Druddigon is already making its way into a defensive kind of dragon type Pokemon with moves like or ability Rough Skin. Sheer Force is good too, but for Druddigon's stat profile, Rough Skin's a little better. Uh, it's got, Glare, Dragon Tail. It's got some poison type moves. It's working its way more into defense than offense, right? And I think that this could be explored a little more and a little better with an evolution. I don't know about you all, but I see some elements of the cockatrice in Druddigon's design with its kind of strange posture for a dragon. I know it's based on a Scottish dragon too. I think they're called like Caerwyn, something like that. I hope I didn't, so to say a word I don't want to say. I hope I didn't completely and totally butcher that. But something along those lines. They're Scottish cave dragons. I know that that's a primary inspiration here, but I see some cockatrice in here too, and I think that you could turn a Drotagon evolution into a basilisk. Give it, maybe it gets an ability. I had it keeping like intimidate and rough skin, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it gets an ability that paralyzes when it's set out into the field, right? Um, and it could be a dragon and poison type or a dragon and water type. Rough skin, it could keep rough skin too as another ability. I think it would get slack off, right? Something that big living deep down, it's gonna sit and rest to hunt its prey, especially since it can just paralyze them with its look, right? It doesn't have to move very fast. It's kind of lazy. I think that makes sense. I would not give it too much speed. So once again, I know, oh, just give it healing moves and it'll be better. And I do understand that criticism. That's very valid. You're right. It doesn't take much imagination to think that. But I think in the cases that I've provided, it makes a little more sense with the character of the creature in the case of Drutagon, and in Bronzong, the case of something that actually is good but can be better with access to that. Like, really be more solid with that. So that's my thoughts anyway on a Drotagon evolution. Okay, so for Generation 6, we're getting Slurpuff, and I think it's Aromatisse, Aromatisse, I don't know, forgive me. The point that I'm making here for both, though, is that they need to evolve. Much more so the latter than the former. Slurpuff does have an identity with Sticky Web, but an evolution to boost its offenses would extend its life beyond setting Sticky Web and then, like, blowing up, which it does. Uh, while I was typing up this video, Slurpuff's name was accidentally typed up as Slutpuff, which, no, that is not its name at all. Aromatisse could really use its evolution to do anything at all, right? Just give it stats for something so that it can do anything, because it does nothing right now. Please help this thing out. It really needs it. The concept there is fun, but it's just not explored enough. I really hope that they do. I thought Legends ZA was the time to do that. I gotta say, I'm pretty bummed out by the fact that none of the Kalos Pokemon got like regular evolutions in Legends ZA, like Sinnoh Pokemon and Johto Pokemon did in Legends Arceus, right? That felt appropriate to do, especially given what we know about X and Y, how everything kind of had to be restarted, and it was a very crunched development as is. And I don't know. I feel like that was the time to go in and polish things up a little more than just give them megas. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I think these two should get evolutions. What do you think? So for Generation 7, I have picked Oricorio. Just like with Cast Form before it, and kind of like Parasect beforehand, but I think more in line with Cast Form. Oricorio really, really, really has a cool idea behind it, a great concept that just makes, it like it makes sense in context. It's really fun. It gives you some different things that you can use. There's some of the Oricorio forms are actually pretty good in different ways, but it's just left in Alola, and I think that's a pity. I think it'd be cool if they were to include Oricorio in other games, and whatever form they pick to be in that game primarily, right? Like obviously they'd let you change, but you know how in like Galar There's like primarily the fire ones in a lot of areas. I think it's in the DLC. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Oh, I said Galar. I meant Paldea. Sorry, everybody. How in Paldea it's primarily the fire form that you see. I think it'd be great if they evolved those forms in different regions that you could bring Oricorio into a more land adapted evolution that lived in that land, right? We get an evolution for fire Oricorio that becomes a fire and something else, right? And it becomes fully adapted to land, like Espathra. You know how it's an ostrich, but it's just a pure psychic type because they don't fly. They're part of a group. I think they're called Paleonaphs that just don't fly. They've been around for a very long time too. But yeah, Oricorio is a perfect idea for that sort of thing. A great way to keep intergenerational evolutions going, but like give us a different one each game for a little bit. Give people something to look forward to consistently for a little bit, right? And the flying type that it had as Oricorio could then become kind of like a pseudo third type in the move pool while it's evolving, right? It can get rust. It can get roost, excuse me, everybody, from its former life as a flying type. There we go, trying to get that out there. I don't know, take advantage of that. Flying type is a great type both offensively and defensively, so it would only really benefit from it. What do you think? Do you think this is a good concept? Has Oricorio wowed you, or is it just one of those things that you're glad was something that they explored once and then left behind? So for Generation 8, I picked Pincurchin. There aren't really defensive automatic electric terrain setters, but with that 15 base speed, which I would not change at all, I think Pincurchin is up to the challenge. You could make it a cool defensive Amoonguss counter with all the spore going around and my hypothetical Parasect evolution too, I guess. Give it 35 more HP because that base 45 isn't helping. Give it 15 more defense, 15 more special defense, and that's it. Right? And this guy's there to just set the terrain last. Maybe you can use it even as a counter terrain setter. Its offenses aren't like high by today's standards, but they're good enough to take advantage of, especially with those boosted stats. And then you get Eviolite Pincurchin too, which I think would help it out as well. Help especially with that 45 HP problem. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Pincurchin is next for an evolution in Galar. Lastly, I picked Spidops, yet another bug type from early in the game. Bringing it back full circle with Parasect there. Spidops. It's not the most original Pokemon in my mind or anything like that. I do see a lot of criticism for it online. I understand that criticism, but I kind of like it. I think that an evolution could sell a little more people on the concept, especially since those stats just aren't helping it at all. I think that the type combination has been explored to death as is, but this is kind of a perfect time for another bug fighting type evolution, right? He's got the fighting stuff going on, like the Solid Snake CQC sort of thing going on, some MMA sort of thing, right? So I think Spidops would be a cool Pokemon to get a third stage that can breathe some life into it, right? Because Spidops just as a pure bug type with those stats, it's got nothing to help it out. And I know there are Pokemon that are supposed to be bad, right? But giving Spidops more stats and a fighting type isn't gonna save the line. You know what I mean? It's flawed as a middle evolution, as is even with those stats, you would have to give it an incredible boost. Excuse me, incredible boost. I almost said incredible bulk. Any red letter media fans, is that amazing bulk? Yeah, the amazing bulk. I think that's where that was coming from. You would have to give it an incredible boost in order to actually take advantage of Spite Ops in any way, shape, or form, right? The 50, 60 points that I'm thinking it would get to upon evolution would not help it, even with a fighting type. It just give it a little bit of life. Make Spite Ops a little more than just that bug that you see in Paldea, right? So that's my thoughts for Gen 9. It's Spite Ops. So thank you all for your time. Let me get this out of the way very quickly. I don't own Pokemon, Nintendo, Game Freak, TPCI, any of the related entities, properties, anything like that. It's not mine. All rights to the respective owners. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Tell your family that you love them. You never know how much time you're going to have. Thank you all for listening again, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I think I said that twice. I'm sorry. It's very late. I'm trying to be chipper, but it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning here, and I'm fading fast. Anyway, have a great one. See you in the next one.